Many English TV actresses were a big part of the famous show Doctor Who, and the same is true for Kate O'Mara. However, her life was very different from the characters that she portrayed on screen, and there are several best-kept secrets that you've probably never heard about this beautiful actress and writer. But before we get into the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below saying, "I subscribed." And we'll do our best to personally reply to your comment. Born into an acting family. Unlike many other actors of her time, Kate was actually born into an acting family. Kate was born August 10, 1939 in Leicester, England. Her real name is Francesca Meredith Carroll. Her parents were actress Hazel Bainbridge and RAF flying instructor John F. Carroll. She had a younger sister named Belinda Carroll, who also pursued an acting career. Thus, acting was a big thing in the family. Although her mother never forced her to become an actress, it made sense that Kate was inspired by her mother's many performances and quickly wished to pursue the same career. Her family was considered lower middle class, which meant that she had a good upbringing, but was not spoiled with riches growing up. However, her parents did have enough money to send her to boarding school for her primary and secondary education. First acting experience. Kate participated in several plays during her boarding school years before finally enrolling into an art school as an actress. This is where she gathered most of her knowledge and experience about acting, and her talent was soon recognized by her teachers. Kate's first performance as a full-time actress was in her stage debut for The Merchant of Venice. She continued to perform in theater for several years because film and TV roles were very difficult for her to get. The competition was intense, and many parents were trying everything in their power to push their children to receive the big roles and thus the big money. A few years later, she was able to gather smaller roles in films such as Danger Man, Adam Adamant Lives, and The Saint. Although these were smaller roles, they provided Kate with a lot of experience. More importantly, she met many new people who had the right connections to help her pursue a serious and more higher-paid career in acting. First marriage and affairs. In 1971, Kate met fellow actor Jeremy Young. The couple fell in love instantly and got married the same year. Although things were fine in the beginning, everything turned sour when Kate was discovered to be having affairs outside their marriage. In the process, Kate had two sons, Dickon Young and Christopher Lynn. The children brought a new turmoil in a marriage that was already falling apart. Things were so bad that she ended up putting Christopher Lynn up for adoption. He was adopted by Derek and Joy Lynn, hence where his surname comes from. Kate and her husband divorced in 1976. A booming career. So at the same time that all these problems were going on in her life, Kate was still working hard on making a name for herself in the acting world, and she was very successful at it. Movie roles were coming one right after the other, and eventually she made her biggest break. In the 1980s, Kate landed a large role in Doctor Who. She played the villain, Rainey, in the series, and had many fans who loved her performance. She continued to appear in this TV series for several seasons, and would later also appear in the 30th anniversary of the show. However, because her role in Doctor Who was not very demanding, she was able to include herself in other productions. Another big role was in Dynasty, which she played Caress Morel. She also moved to California for 5 years in order to complete her contract for Dynasty, but she often recalled hating life in California, and she couldn't wait to return to the UK. A personal tragedy. Her sons were very much growing up without their biological mother. Although Dickon was not put up for adoption, he did not have many opportunities to spend quality time with his mother. He was mostly just bounced from one family member to another, and thus the relationship between them soured. When he became an adult, Dickon focused on his own life and only occasionally saw his mother during the holidays. Her son Christopher had an even more difficult time because of his mother's actions. Although his adoptive parents were very supportive and there was no evidence of any mistreatment, it was incredibly difficult for him to come to terms with the idea that he was abandoned by his parents as a child. As an adult, he had attempted suicide several times. On his last attempt in 2021, Christopher was found dead at his home 3 weeks after committing suicide. He was estranged from his mother for his entire life and refused to have any contact with her. The casting couch. Kate entered a long period of depression after learning about her son's suicide. she decided to try and make something of herself and turned to openly talking about the casting couch that was present both in the US and in the United Kingdom. She once recalled a story where producer Judd Bernard asked her to remove her underwear for the audition for Double Trouble. In her book, Vamp Until Ready, A Life Laid Bare, she wrote about many other instances where she felt used and humiliated during an audition. Sadly, she was not the first, nor the last, to go through such a horrible experience, and many of these issues are still present in the film industry today. Later life and death. Kate continued to work a lot during her last years, and although she was now able to pick her roles and only work with people who made her feel safe and comfortable, some did notice appearances in her later life, including roles in Cluedo, Bad Girls, Lunch with Marlene, and Nebulous. Her acting was almost always well received by the critics, and she soon became one of the most famous actresses in the UK. However, things did take a turn for the worse regarding her health in the early 2000s. At the age of 60, her mind had returned to thoughts of her sons and the life that she failed to provide for them. She commented in several interviews that she was so focused on her career that not even her children were able to take her mind off of acting. In 2010, Kate was submitted to a nursing home in Sussex by members of her family. Her past had come back to haunt her, and she soon developed mental health problems that stopped her from being independent and living alone. It is unsure if Kate was aware of her thoughts at all by the time she entered the nursing home. In 2014, she developed ovarian cancer while in the nursing home. Her condition quickly became serious, and Kate lost her battle with cancer in 2014 at the age of 74. There is, however, one last thing that Kate was able to do before her death, and that is to write a testament of her fortune. Although she claimed that she missed the time lost with her sons, she held a grudge because no one had visited her from the family other than her sister Belinda Carroll. Kate left £10,000 to the Actors Benevolent Fund, and she left her remaining fortune of £350,000 entirely to her sister, who by then was a retired actress. So did you know the story of Kate O'Meara? Did you enjoy her roles in Doctor Who? Which movies caught your interest the most? Let us know in the comments below, and check out the next video in this series.